Trading within FC24 can be very tedious. There are so many different methods that you can use, which in some cases you may need to use at different price points. It means learning one trading method, getting used to it, and then ultimately that method no longer being suitable for where you're currently at. And then you need to go and learn a completely new method. Well, to solve that problem, we have a method that you can use from the moment you start Ultimate Team all the way to making millions of coins. But before we do get into the video, if you want the easiest possible method and you're looking for some cheap, fast and reliable FC24 coins, then there is no better place than U4GM. There is a link in the description down below, and as we are coming up towards Black Friday, they have a Black Friday discount. If you use that link in the description and also code Fnatic, you'll be able to get a 15% discount. Thank you U4GM for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back into it. The method for today's video is called the 1-2-3 method. It is not anything new. It's been around since the beginning of Ultimate Team. But many find when first starting Ultimate Team, they can't initially use it due to the amount of interest that people have within game and the price in which players sell for. But now that it has been near enough 2 months, things have started to settle, making this method work better than ever before. If you don't know what the 1-2-3 method is, that's perfectly fine because we're gonna go through it. Quite simply, it's a bidding parameter. You'll head over to the transfer market, select the minimum bid to be 10,000 coins, the maximum bid to be 20,000 coins, and a minimum buy now to be 30,000 coins. This is also the reason it has the name, because once you look down, of course, it's 1-2-3. And with this, there are 2 different ways to go. Some people leave the quality to be empty, others like to be more specific. The choice here is ultimately up to you. But it's at this point in which you need to search. Now, what you're going to do is go across each and every single player, and you're looking for players with bids on. The reason we're trying to skip over every other player that's here is because not every single one of these will be good deals. But the way in which we can tell which is a good deal and what is a bad deal is because we're coming down to the last 30 seconds to even couple minutes, that those with bids on are likely good deals because someone's taken the time to research for us. They found that this is potentially below market value, so they've placed a bid. So what we now do is go across, find those with bids on, and then we're gonna have to use a tool. The tool that I'm using is Futbin. Now, with every single player that we come across, I'm going to be typing their name into Futbin so that I can get a rough price. It doesn't always show the exact price. Ultimate Team updates way quicker considering this is a game of Ultimate Team, and any other type of plugins or tools or any software out there may take a bit longer as it doesn't update every second. But it gives you a good idea and a rough ballpark of what that player will sell for. So if you come across someone who's currently listed at 15,000 coins on a bid with 30 seconds left, but the next cheapest is 20,000 coins, then there's more than enough room for you to place a bid, win that player, and then list them at 19,000 coins so that you're undercutting the market and can get a quick sell whilst still being able to make profit after the 5% EA tax. Now, this is a simple way of looking at it. You're not always going to be able to find those deals, but this is one where you need to be going through as many different players as possible. You'll probably win anywhere between 3, maybe even 4 out of 10, depending when you're trading and if you are in the right place at the right time. But this is a numbers game. The longer you stick with it, the more deals you're going to win, but also you'll be able to find some really good deals where they just go through the market. No one else notices them, and you could just go through, place a bid, win that trade with no competition whatsoever, and then make some really nice profit. But of course, with this, you're going to need to have 10 to 20,000 coins to get started, meaning that this isn't really a method that you can start right at the beginning of Ultimate Team because you need 10 to 20k, except you can, because the 1-2-3 method isn't called the 10, 20, 30k method because there's variations of this. You can lower this, so when first starting out, you can set it to be 1,000, 2,000 and 3,000 coins rather than the 10, 20 and 30. With this type of parameter, you'll get in that lower end of rare gold players who are still valued something. They're not at their lowest, but they're also not as high as what they could potentially be. We're also in here getting different types of bronze players and silver players that have a slightly higher value, and that's where you can make some really good coins. That will then cover you to use the 123 method with 1,000, 2,000 and 3,000 coins until you can get anywhere between 50 to 100,000 coins. And it's at that point in which you're going to use the 10k, 20k and 30k method, where you can start to ramp up the deals that you get, make more profit per player, and gradually build up your coin balance to where you're getting 200, 300, 400,000 coins. And then we go to the next step, which is 100k, 200k, 300k. This, in my opinion, is the best way to go through this. You end up singling out some high rated rare gold players, which still hold their value, but more importantly, you're focusing on quite a few special cards. Any promos that have been released previously, team of the weeks, some cheap icons, and also hero cards. And that's where you can get some really good deals. No longer just making 1,000, 2,000 coins profit, but it being a lot more. And in some cases, if you're in the right place at the right time, anywhere between 5 to 10k after the 5% EA tax. With these, you're still going to win anywhere between 3 to 4 out of your 10, but now you're able to make a lot more profit from these players. And if you do really want to take it to the extreme, although this is only going to apply to a very small percentage of people, and with this, you're not really going to be able to find 3 or 4 deals out of potential 10. It's going to be a lot less because there are a lot less players, but this is 1 million, 2 million, and 3 million. Normally there's only a few players listed. As time goes on and EA starts to release more players, especially if they bring different versions of icons and heroes, then there will be a lot more listed here. For most of you though, you'll be looking at that 1k, 2k, 3k, then going to 10k, 20k, 30k, and then 100k, 200k, and then 300k. That is where most of you will be settling with this method, and that's going to be good enough for you to make millions of coins. Of course, it's going to take some time for you to get there, but you don't need to faff about trying to learn different types of trading methods for different types of markets, because now that this one works, it will continue to work. You will need to adapt it slightly. For example, if there is an SBC like there was at the time recording this video, which required quite a lot of gold players, then it means that when you go through and use that cheaper version at 1k, 2k and 3k, it's going to be harder for you to get a good deal on those types of players because loads of people are going for them due to there being SBCs. That will also change if there's content available which requires you to have a certain rating or to have a certain amount of special cards, which then the 10k, 20k and 30k becomes slightly more challenging. It's rare for the 100k, 200k, 300k for that to be needed in any way. So that normally remains the same. But then with that, you're going to need to make sure that you have the coins to do so, that you can continuously keep going through it. The thing with this is that you do need to understand your budget. You may have enough to go through that more expensive version at 100k, 200k, 300k, but if you do only just have 200,000 coins, you then have all your eggs in one basket. You'll buy that player and they may not sell instantly. So that's when it makes sense for you to not immediately jump to the most expensive version. Start with something a bit smaller, that 10k, 20k, 30k, start to build that up so that you can get several trades and then all having different times to sell. Some will sell within that first hour, some may take a few times to relist, but it's not all your eggs in just one basket, so to speak. And then gradually as you build up your coin balance to be something a bit more substantial where you can potentially get 2, 3 or even 4 of these more expensive players, then that's when you'll move over and upgrade to this higher level. The final 2 comments to make about this is when there is a major promo, we are coming up to one being Black Friday. Also, we can highlight Team of the Year and Team of the Season. These methods are crazy good. You just go through the transfer market, bid on players, and most of the time you will win them. That's where it goes above just winning an average of 3 or 4 out of 10, and it could be substantially higher, with each of those players having much higher margins for the amount of coins you're able to make in profit. The other thing that you may also want to do, and we did briefly touch upon it when going through this right at the beginning, is instead of just leaving the parameters as just being the prices and leaving everything else clear, you may want to be specific. For example, with the 10k, 20k and 30k, finding rare gold players can be challenging. Most of the time, I do find that I get outbidded. That's why when I go for it, I tend to prefer to set the quality to be special. That way, I'm only getting special cards within that price range. And those tend to be some of my better deals. That's not to say that's impossible to get rare gold players, it just feels like there's a lot more competition, a lot more people bidding, With special cards, especially now that we're getting at that point where some of the very first Team of the Weeks that were released, they're starting to become a bit rare. Not everyone is actively searching for them, so sometimes they'll go through, be listed for an hour, get all the way down to the last 30 to 60 seconds, and for them to have a single bid. You place a bid and that person that did initially bid is no longer keeping an eye on that player, and you just go through and win them, allowing you to list them a few thousand coins more and make a very good amount of profit. What I'm trying to say here is by experimenting with different player qualities, maybe also looking for chemistry styles, you can start to divide yourself into a completely different area that most people are not looking at for you to make a really good amount of coins. So definitely experiment. If you enjoyed this video, then I highly recommend clicking the next video, which is now on screen. That video has been specifically recommended just for you. So whatever it is, I hope you enjoy.